Good morning. Welcome on into Let's Bet It. Lauren Jabbar here with Jared Smith. It is Wednesday. We are on divisional week. We have a lot of things going on. Jared, how are we today?
I'm good. How are you? What city are you in this
Good.
morning? I lost
I'm
track.
good. I'm in Dallas. We play the
Oh,
Mavs
Debbie does
tonight and then head
Dallas.
home.
Very
Yeah, and then
nice.
head home for a couple games. So super excited about that. We have a lot to get into today, though, that I cannot even wait. We have NFL midweek line moves because quite a few line movements have been going on around the league. We have NFL conference odds if we see any value on any of these teams. We have Bobby Stanley coming on, talking NBA. What is that noise, Gerard?
I have no idea. Some notification on my thing is going off here.
It
Hopefully
sounded
that's
like
just
a
shut
jellyfish or
off.
something. That was really
Yeah, it
exciting.
was like like you get like a update your computer like popped up on
Yeah,
the bottom of my screen there. It was weird.
yeah.
Never
I
gotten
was
that
like, what
notification
is
before.
going
So very
on?
strange.
That's so funny. Yeah, I mean, Bobby Stanley coming on to talk about NBA, and then we have our best bets of the day. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Let's bet it. Midweek line moves. Let's talk about this Jags Chiefs game first because, and then there were only eight teams left competing for the Super Bowl. We've seen three significant moves this week. Right now, the Chiefs were laying 10. Now they're laying 8.5. This may or may not have to do with how the Jags came back from a 27-point deficit. Why do you think we've seen it move a point and a half?
I need to confirm that line move because I think it's kind of been. Yeah, I don't. I think it reopened at 8 on Sunday, 8.5. I think
Mm,
10 was kind of a weird look ahead. I don't know. I'm curious where Kyle saw that 10. I never saw it at 10. I did see it reopen at 8.5. I saw the total tick up a little bit, and I think that was, to me, that's the more intriguing of all the moves with this game because obviously you have both defenses, especially the Jaguars defense, that has really struggled at times this year. You just had that game that was a shootout and a game where all of a sudden the Chargers went from dominating to losing it. So you saw LA really put a hurting on the Jaguars defense early, but a lot of that, to be fair, was Trevor Lawrence's own doing and giving short fields to the Chargers offense. So I don't know if the Jaguars defense will be put in as many short fields as they were on Saturday night, but obviously they're
yeah,
going to be under a lot of stress. The irony is when I looked at Lawrence's numbers, he only had one turnover worthy play, despite the fact that he threw 4 picks. So that
which is
tells me
crazy.
that not all of those picks were his fault, and some of them were probably tip passes, et cetera, et cetera. But I think the total moving up is kind of the indicator of where the early sharp money is on this game, from 51 up to 53. And again, we've discussed 51 being a very key total in the NFL. So the fact that it is just completely blown through that marker and
Mm-hmm.
has moved now
Mm-hmm.
all the way up to 53 does tell me that the early indicator says that this game could be a shootout. And I think based on the defensive numbers of both teams, that certainly makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we've seen one total tick down, and that's with the Bengals Bills. I think a lot of this has to do too. It's ticked down about a point and a half, 2 points. Was 50 and a half. Now it's set at 48. A lot of this has to do with, I think, Joe Burrow's O line that's not going to be there to necessarily protect him as much. They're missing three of their starters in the O line. So I think they're still expecting a shootout, but maybe not as much as it would have been if he had his full starting gamut of O line healthy and ready to go, don't you think?
Totally agree. That is definitely why this total ticked down.
Yeah.
And I think it's, if you game script it out in your head, offensive line banged up, Joe less time to throw, less deep, you know,
Mm-hmm. Opportunities.
routes that take longer to develop deep down the field. And that, to me, that's the recipe for an under. Now, the one thing on the other side too that might be the recipe for an under, could be the recipe for an over. It adds a little volatility to the mix, frankly, is the turnovers that the Bills have, shot themselves in the foot with this season. So in that game against the Dolphins on Sunday, Josh Allen had a season high 7 big time throws. I mean, the dude was slinging it. But he also had 3
Yeah.
turnover worthy plays, which is the third most he's
Yeah.
had in any game all year. So all over the map, violent swings. The one thing about Joe Burrow's offensive line that I will say might be a little bit not as important is he has made the adjust. We've talked about this. He's made the adjustment this year. He's taken less sacks, despite the fact that his offensive line, relatively speaking, hasn't played that well. Although now they are down to a bunch of second and third stringers all over the place. The right guard,
Yeah.
Alex Kappa, who missed the Ravens game, his replacement, Max Sharping, had the lowest run blocking grade of any guard the entire weekend. But Joe has the second lowest time to throw rate of any quarterback in the league this year, just behind Tom Brady. Like I said, he has made the adjustment in front of a very leaky offensive line. So
Mhm.
I don't know if the offensive line injuries are going to have as big of an impact as this line move is
As
telling us it
possible.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I see it go from 4 to 5.5 now, and I'm like, maybe teasing the Bengals up to 11, not a bad bet. If we can find a tease partner with it, and I think I've got one in our other game in the NFC. So that's kind of where I'm at with this game. I think the line. I understand why the line has moved, but I don't know if I fully agree with it, and I don't know if maybe it's moved a little too much.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. And you look at Josh Allen. I mean, he has the most picks out of any quarterback in the NFL this season, which is actually crazy.
Mm,
Something, if you would have asked me who has the most picks, I would not have said Josh Allen. I would have said like Matt Ryan, Davis Mills, something like that, which they are top five in terms of
yeah.
turning the ball over. But Josh Allen hasn't necessarily been the most consistent this year. I'm excited to see this game that we never ended up getting to see. We're going to
Oh
break it
yeah.
all down on Pickswise Playbook. We have that later today, so that will be out either tonight or tomorrow morning, so make sure to check that out. Last but not least, a line move. Cowboys taking on the 49ers. The Niners were laying 4.5. Now they're laying 3.5, and maybe this could have to do with the fact that Dak Prescott played a really good game. I mean, almost a
Yeah.
perfect game for him. 4 touchdowns, another rushing touchdown. Maybe they're like, ooh, they might give this 49ers defense a little extra something to cook with. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm not buying that. Um, I think this is the one line move that's confused me a little bit, frankly. I expected it to open at 4, and
Yeah.
the sharper shops here in town opened 3.5. And then the rest of the market opened 4 and then got bought down to 3.5 very quickly. And I'm
Yeah.
even seeing a very expensive 3 at one of the very square shops in town. Not in town here, but nationwide. I won't say the name of the shop because they don't deserve the publicity, but it's probably the squarest of all the shops. So what that tells me is there's a lot of public money that I think is going to come in on Dallas this week. And
Hmm.
I think Dallas is probably going to be the public dog of the week, if I had to guess. Maybe the Giants, but I think there's going to be a lot of love for Philly based off of what they've done this year. And the Giants still are. I mean, they're still the Giants, but the Giants, like I would say, if you asked me the teams that looked the best last week, I think the
Yeah.
Cowboys and the Giants would be the two teams, right? Like just going in on the road and taking care of their business without really much drama, frankly.
Hmm.
Both of those teams were in control of those two games throughout, despite, I know that the Cowboys were a favorite, but it was still up against Tom Brady, and the Giants obviously were an underdog. So I would say
Yeah.
those teams looked the best. The Bengals and the Bills struggled. They kind of played with their food a little bit. The Niners looked pretty good, but they're a favorite. And I think the Cowboys are going to be that public team this week. So be careful
Yeah.
if you're betting them, especially at 3. I would absolutely not bet the Cowboys at 3. Do not bet the Cowboys at 3. If you get a 3.5, I see a 4 in the market. I think that's a fair bet. But I also think the Niners are going to absolutely run all over them. And I think the weakness for the Cowboys this season has been the secondary. And if they can't get quick pressure on Brock Purdy, and even if they can, I mean, I gave you the numbers yesterday. Great job by Kyle getting that clip out of the different levels of Brock Purdy's ability to avoid turnovers this year has been remarkable. Granted, he's facing a very different animal this week in the Dan Quinn defense with Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence, and those guys are going to get
Yeah.
after him a little bit more. But I don't think it matters. I think the scheme is so good, and he gets it out so quick, and he's got so many other weapons around him. This is my favorite bet of the week. I got 3 units on the
I,
Niners. It'll be my best bet,
yeah,
and I think that's my favorite bet so far this week on the board side or total was.
totally. That's what I said is I'm excited to see Kyle Shanahan's offense going up against Dan Quinn's defense. We all remember the Falcons 28-3 collapsed. And again, that was Kyle Shanahan's offense against Dan Quinn and his defense. So we get
Good
to
point.
see it again, which I'm really excited about. We'll bring that up a little bit later on Pickswise Playbook too. Before we bring in Bobby Stanley, really quick, I just want to go through conference odds because right now, do you see any value in any of these teams in the AFC? Right now, we have the Chiefs plus 130, Bills plus 160, Bengals plus 425, Jags 15-1. Is there any value in any four of those teams for the AFC conference?
I don't really think so, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Again, we've talked about it. At this stage of the year, you're better off
Mm-hmm.
just parlaying the money lines back to back.
Yeah. Do you see
Odds
anything in the
are you're going to
NFC?
get a better number. No.
In the NFC,
I
it's
think that, listen,
49ers plus
I made
150.
this prediction pre-playoffs
Yeah.
last Friday night. I tweeted it out, I think, on Saturday morning. I've got the Niners and the Bills. Those are the two teams that I think are going to be in the Super Bowl. I had two free bets from my Evan Ingram disaster a couple weeks ago on one of the sports books, and I think it was like $200 each, and I put them both on Bills and
Mm-hmm.
Niners to win their respective conferences. They were both plus 190. And
Wow.
again, they both won last week, and the odds moved like 30 cents, 40 cents. So not a huge shift, but you have to ask yourself if the Chiefs are plus 130, if they win
Yeah.
this week, they're probably gonna be a favorite again next week. Definitely gonna be a favorite against the Bengals or the
Yeah.
definitely gonna be against the Bengals. If it's the Bills, they'll probably be like a 1 point favorite at home against the Bills, or excuse me, the neutral site. So you just have to
Yeah.
do the math. And like I'm not willing to do the math right now in my head because I'm not that smart, but my guess is, if I had to guess, the math is better off just putting $100 on the money line this week and then rolling all of that over to the money line next week. And odds are you will get a better payout than what that future is telling you, especially if you do the underdog. Like, for instance, if you bet the Bengals money line this week and then you bet the Bengals money line again next week, rolling all that over, odds are you'd beat plus 425. Again, I don't have the math in my
Yeah.
head. I don't know that for sure. But if I had to guess, I would guess you would have a better price on the money line rollover based off of how
Yeah.
these markets can be priced at this stage.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you on that because there's going to be a lot of NFL talk this week. We obviously have Pickswise Playbook coming out later today and tomorrow, but let's take it from the field to the court. NBA action, bringing Bobby Stanley, prop Holiday to chat the NBA slate tonight. There's 9 games on the card. Bobby Stanley, how are we? Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday, guys. I just missed the end of NFL discussion, but it was sounding
Ugh.
pretty good. How
You
you
didn't miss
you
much,
seem
Hey,
buddy.
pretty
I've lost 100 straight NFL bets. I'm on the streak of my life.
Oh man, I was up until Monday night. I was with you, so yeah, we're on the same page, man.
Hey, you know what? The beautiful thing about it, you, like I told Jared too, you and Brett Maher, you guys got it out of the way early, and now we move on to the divisional rounds, and it's
Brett
time
Maher
to
can suck
come
it.
back. I hit my under. I hit my under because he missed 4 extra points, but you know, it's okay. I got so lucky on that bet. Bobby Stanley, like so lucky. It was wild. But we move on to the divisional round, which I'm excited about. We also move on to the NBA slate tonight. There's 9 games on the slate. The Memphis Grizzlies currently on a 10-game winning streak. Do they do the same thing against the Cavs and keep it rolling tonight?
I was actually looking at that game. So Grizzlies are -7.5 against the Cavs. There's no Donovan Mitchell. He's got a groin strain. We don't know how much time he's going to miss. Cavs are 1-3 without Mitchell and having Garland play, and the average margin of loss is 9.6 points. The only thing that's deterring me from not betting Memphis minus the 7.5 is they're giving up the most points in the paint, and I think Garland can really get something going. He can attack the rim, obviously, and if he can get a nice lob game going with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, I think they can make the game competitive. I'm trying to stay away as much as possible, but it's an interesting one at the Grizzlies -7.5.
Did you just say the Grizzlies give up the most points in the paint? I thought they were a tough-nosed defensive team with Jaren Jackson Jr. What the hell's that all about?
I thought the same thing as you, man. I looked it up this morning. They are giving up, I think, almost 60 points a game in the paint. I mean, they're
That's
getting a lot. I mean, Jaren
insane.
Jackson, yes, does not. It completely defies logic. But it's a good matchup for Garland in that regard.
100%. How about a Garland assist prop or something like that?
He's at 8.5 at plus money odds. I don't know how many shooters he's going to have around him. We might see some Kevin Love tonight. If you can get his odds before they drop, they're not out right now. But it's an interesting.
You just
matchup.
said the magic word to keep me off of any game. Kevin Love. Next game. Next.
The Heat are
LaMelo Ball.
The Heat are in New Orleans.
Fun. Yeah,
the
I
Heat
don't know.
are in New Orleans.
That was the magic word right there.
The Heat are in New Orleans, and I see that you have something on the former 6th man of the year in Tyler Hero. Tell me more.
I have a prop that's hitting 72% of his games this season. I like Tyler Hero over 26.5 points, rebounds, and assists. So he's averaging 31 PRA on the season, so this is well below that. His first game back last week, since he missed a brief stretch, his wife just had a baby, so I'm empathetic to the new dads. His first game back, he had 15 points. But it's for good reason, Jared. That's not why I'm on it. He had 15 points in that game. He didn't get to the free throw line at all. He went 1 for 8 from 3. Very uncharacteristic of him. But he still finished with 24 PRA. Playing this Pelicans team tonight on the road. Pelicans giving up the second most rebounds per game to opposing shooting guards. And believe it or not, Hero averages 2 more points per game on the road. So I think it's a good bounce back spot for him. I really like it because the number is well below his season average. And he was really just getting his feet wet last game. So give me Hero over 26.5 PRA. I'm putting 1.5 units on.
Wow, over 26.5 PRA. See, I got to start betting the NBA again because we're getting down to the nitty gritty of what I can actually bet on that's football related. Can you believe this, guys? We only have 7 NFL games left. It's really sad.
It's crazy.
Sorry. Back to your fun bet, LaMelo Ball of the Chicago variety, triple double, 8-1. Wow, 8-1. Lay it on me.
So LaMelo Ball, the Hornets tonight are playing the Houston Rockets, and this is you can make the
Charlotte
case
Hornets. CHO to me is Chicago.
I know it shouldn't be like that. It should be probably CHA.
Kyle, CHA for Charlotte, bud. You got it.
That was me. I did that, and that's what's on DraftKings and FanDuel and all those other books. But I agree, it should be CHA.
Kyle, it's free of blame. It's all on Bobby.
I try to come.
It's all on you, Bobby.
I try to
come
come
on your shoulders.
I try to come with like a fun touchdown prop. Let's see if we can keep this going with an NBA. LaMelo Ball triple-double is plus 800. He had a triple-double last year against the Houston Rockets. Rockets, 28 in defensive rating, 29th in offensive rating. There's going to be plenty of assist and rebound opportunities. These are probably the 2 worst teams in the league. You can make the case for the Pistons and the Spurs, although the Spurs looked pretty good last night. 5 of LaMelo Ball's 5 of the 7 triple-doubles he's had for his career, 5 of them came on the road. So I like this at 8-1, and I'm willing to bet by tip-off. It's probably closer to 5 to 6-1. Something quarter of a unit. Don't go crazy on this, but it's got some. It's
10-unit play. LaMelo Ball, the Bulls. LaMelo Ball. He's a star, guys. Can't hold him down.
I was like, I don't know if you're thinking of Lonzo Ball, Jared.
I think he might have.
Well, that's why I got confused because I was.
He also has been out all season.
To be fair, CHO, I got a little confused there, and I thought maybe he meant Lonzo Ball, and all of a sudden I was like, no, that's LaMelo. Very confusing. Bobby's trying to throw curveballs at us today. Not LaMelo balls, but curveballs. And I just fell for it.
I like it. Okay, let's take it out to the West Coast. The Lakers playing at, I still like to call it Staples Center. It is Crypto.com Arena now. The Sacramento Kings are in town, and you're liking a side in this one.
It is, and it will forever be Staples Center. Even when I went out there last year, I refused to call it Crypto.
Yeah.
Kings -4 on the road. Kings 5-1 as away favorites against the spread. Lakers 1-3 over their last 4. Their only win came against the Houston Rockets. For as great as they played, I think in that late December, early January stretch, it's starting to come back down to earth. As much as I hate fading LeBron James, I'm going to do it in this spot. Kings won 7 of their last 10. Kings 4-1 against the spread in the last 5 road games. This number is 4 now. It's probably going to be 4.5 or 5 come tip off. So I like the Kings tonight -4.
The best part about this bet is it directly contradicts Kyle Lupus's 3-star play of the day, who's on the Lakers. So one of you guys is going to win tonight. I was about to give that out as like when Lauren came to me for our Pickswise, 3 stars. So just wanted full disclosure that you are in.
One of us will be right. Yeah, we had
one of you will be right. One of you
it's so hard.
will be correct.
It's so hard with
Maybe you
LeBron
guys should
this year. I
swag bet
mean,
on it.
Yeah.
I'll
Someone can
I
do a
don't have no
swag bet.
swag. I
I
got
have
some
no
swag
swag
back
left
there.
to
That's
bet.
about it.
It's all gone. It's all Lauren took all of it. It's all gone. She's got all of my swag. I don't think
Sorry.
she's gonna give it back either.
I will
Oh
wear
man.
as a diehard LeBron fan. I'll wear something Michael Jordan on the show next time if
Perfect.
as a swag bet of my own. I do have
Yeah.
a
That's
45.
not that bad though. Michael Jordan, is he a rival of LeBron James? You should have to
He is
wear
when you start talking
something
about.
Who's the biggest Rams rival? The Niners? You should have to wear some Niners gear. That's really what it
It's
should
the
be.
Niners of
'Cause I know,
late,
I
and
know
then
you would
probably
hate that.
Seattle prior to that. No, when you get into GOAT talks, then Michael Jordan becomes the rival. But I'm going to save that for later in the NBA season when we're struggling for talks. I'll jump on and do my LeBron. I'll get on my soapbox and do my LeBron GOAT talk. He'll have the all-time leading scorer by that time, so I'll have another feather in my cap.
Yeah, totally. I know. Bobby Stanley, we so appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much for breaking down the NBA slate tonight. We'll be talking to you later this week for divisional round weekend.
Guys, take care.
Peace. That is Bobby Stanley prop Holliday. Before we get into our best bets, we have to talk about our friends at Superbook Sports. Let's Bet It is presented by Superbook Sports. Make sure to go to superbook.com or download the app today. And this season, guys, we are all rooting for safeties. That's because Superbook will give you a $50 bonus on each safety scored this season. Just place a $100 pregame bet on any spread or any total. And if there's a safety scored in any game on Sunday, you, my friends, get a $50 bonus. Make sure to visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Now from superbook.com to Pickswise.com, our 3-star play of the day. Who do we got today on this beautiful midweek Wednesday?
Lakers +4.
Ooh.
I mean, that's the only one we have on the site currently. We do have some soccer for Saturday. Obviously, that's a long way away. And then tennis.
Yeah.
I actually lost some money on Rafael Nadal last night. I don't know if you watched any of that match, but
No.
I was like, oh, wow, Nadal's only down one set and underdog. Like, he can come back from this. And then he didn't because he got hurt. And Nadal is out of the Aussie Open, number 1 seed.
Yikes.
Bye-bye.
I know. That's
American, Michael
that
McDonald.
Really...
Nice win for him.
Win for him. What is your play of the day? Are you betting tennis?
No, I'm not. I'm on a college basketball game tonight.
Ooh.
We are going with West Virginia, Mountaineer Country in Morgantown.
Okay.
Home game against 14th ranked TCU. And it is one of my favorite spots to bet. It is the unranked home team favored against a ranked road team. That trend this season, 13-6 against the spread. Our pal Tim Murray likes to call it the stinky line theory. We've talked to him about these types of games many times. You see the ranking next to the road team, and you're like, wait a minute, why are they an underdog? Well, usually the market tends to sniff these out. Again, 68% this season, the unranked favored team at home is winning against the number. And over the last 6 seasons, it's about a 54.5% trend, 106, 90, and 3. So again, this season, short sample, pretty good. Longer sample over the last 6 years, also profitable. West Virginia's had a really rough year, 0-5 in the Big 12. They've lost 5 straight, all to top 40 Ken Pom teams. Again, the Big 12 is an absolute gauntlet. Bobby Huggins, though, understands how to ride the highs and lows of a long season. And despite losing 5 straight games and being 0-5 in the Big 12, West Virginia is still 3 spots higher than TCU in Ken Palm's rankings.
Yeah.
The Horned Frogs, Jamie Dixon, good coach. They played a pretty fast tempo. Not a great shooting team, though. And West Virginia is a really good defensive team, and I think they're going to lock down in Morgantown and get their first Big 12 win of the year. So we will lay it 2 points with the Mountaineers. West Virginia, -2. Play of the day against TCU.
I like it. Against TCU. I'm over TCU at this point. Sorry to all my TCU people, but after they beat Michigan, I can never look at the school the same again.
You're in Dallas right now. Be careful. They might come attack you.
I know. Seriously, I need to be careful. Truly, I'm like looking over my shoulder. But I'm taking my best bet, 1 to Canada and 2 to the ice, because the Colorado Avalanche are headed across the border up into Calgary to take on the Calgary Flames. And I like the Avs money
British
line
accent
in this one. I don't know.
You did a
Yeah,
pretty bad.
I
You
don't
did
know
a
what
pretty
that was.
bad
I'm
10
sorry about
for
that.
Canada. I
Yeah, I don't
don't know.
know.
You do your thing, girl. I love you. Do your thing.
Canada to play
There
some
you go. That
hockey
was
in
better. That was
Canada.
better.
I'm
Hey,
taking the Avs money line plus money plus 106. It's the second of 3 games between these two teams. Calgary won the last time. The Avs have had kind of a tough season so far, right? Like they've had so many injuries, and it hasn't really allowed them to get going. They've used 38, Jared, 38 different players this season, and that does not include
wow.
Gabe Landeskog, their captain, who still has not played since an off-season surgery. And that's what happens when you go through a long championship run. You lose players to free agency. You don't have that much time to rest and recover in the offseason. The good news for the Avs, though, is Pavel Francouz is back after missing the last month. The Avs are riding a 2-game win streak, and Francouz started in those 2 games. He looked really good between the pipes, whether it's him tonight or Georgiev. Georgiev's going to be rested because he hasn't played in a week because Frankie's been playing. I know they are still a little thin on the blue line, but I still trust Cale Makar, Devon Taves playing big minutes with Manson and Byram still out. But for the Flames, they've been on the road. They've had 5 games on the road in the last 9 days. Offensively, they haven't really gotten it going. They have the 4th lowest shooting percentage in the NHL. Their penalty kill has been really, really good. They're killing 82.4% of other teams' power plays, but the Avs power play is one of their offensive strengths this season because they really haven't been great 5-on-5. They're converting 24% of their power plays, which is top 10 in the league. The Avs are on a 2-game winning streak right now. I feel like they're going to ride that momentum to start this 3-game road trip. In their last 2 games, they've beat their opponent. They've had a plus 10 scoring margin, a combined score of 13-3 in those 2 games. The Flames, they have been more consistent all season long, but the Avs have also gone 8-3 in their last 11 games. They seem to be turning a new leaf a little bit. They're 4-1 overall in their last 5 games in Calgary, and the underdog between these two teams is 8-3 in their last 11 head-to-head games. So with the Avs getting them at plus money as an underdog, sign me up for it, baby. I know they're still shorthanded a little bit, but I trust the talent that they have both on the blue line, offensively, and between the pipes. Give me the Avs plus money at the Scotiabank Saddle Dome in Calgary. That's it for us today. Find us on the Pickswise YouTube channel. Go to pickswise.com. Follow us on Twitter. That's Jared Smith. I'm Lauren Jabara. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then, peace out.